Well, good morning, beautiful, and welcome to A Little Bit of Makeup and a Whole Lot of Jesus, where we're going to be spending about the next 45 minutes together doing a full face makeup tutorial and memorizing a Bible verse. So we have been memorizing our way through the book of James using our coloring book and journal, Color Me James. So it is going to be a continuation of that. So excited. I hope you loved the song from last week, because let me tell you, it was one of my favorites. And my mom loved it. Okay, so we have got some great things coming at you today. Looking forward to sharing with you. Today, our easy full face makeup tutorial theme is there a dark blue eyeshadow too bold for over 40? So we're going to be playing with dark blue, and let's see how that looks on an over 40 face. I think it's going to be super fun, and wait till you see the lips. Okay, so go ahead and grab your palette. We're going to be playing with the Afro Galactic from Juvia's Place today. So go ahead and grab your palette, grab your brushes, grab you some false lashes, and get on back here.
A little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. Voices at me, can't wait.
All right, so, there we go. Now I can hear myself a little bit better. Let me get that chat turned on. Go ahead and give me a shout out of where you are coming from so that I can, recognize you. Let's talk together about, what's going on in your neck of the woods. I love it when you share pictures of the looks that you do. Give me a shout out. Let me know what's happening to you throughout the week. You got prayer requests? Let's go ahead and talk about those too. I love to do prayer requests. Okay, if I can get my mouse to cooperate with me, there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the foundation verse for this podcast, and that is Psalm 119, verse 11. Technology's working against me today. There we go. I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And again, that's Psalm 119, verse 11. And so we have been working through, again, the book Color Me James. That's available in 3 different formats. You can do ebook, which you can buy just straight out from my website, or if you become a Church Queen Beauty Insider on YouTube, you get that for free with that Cherish Queen membership. So it also comes in spiral bound, which is my favorite. And then you also have the perfect bound, which comes from Amazon. So lots of different choices. Find the one that works for you.
She didn't plan to fall, but the ground was familiar. It looked like comfort, smelled like just one time, felt like maybe God forgot her name. But that voice, that whisper, it didn't come from him. That trap was homemade, stitched together from loneliness, frustration, old wounds that never healed right. And in the silence, she heard the truth. This temptation ain't from God, this fire, it started in me. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby sin. Sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. You feel it?
All right, you can check out the rest of that. That is now on our playlist. So in Color Me James, go ahead and scan that playlist QR code, and that will take you to the Spotify playlist. It's probably going to be towards the bottom of the list because it looks like every time you add something, it falls to the bottom. So all those Color Me James are going to be there, but you don't have to listen to it just on Spotify. It's on, Apple Music and Amazon Music and all those things. All right, so here is our verse for this week, continuing on in the book of James. James. This week we're going to be James 1:16-18. So, my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes from heaven, or comes out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of light cascading from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. He's brought us to life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of all his creatures. James 1:16-18. And I promise that'll flow a little bit better the more that you say it. Think of it like a story that you're telling. So my particular struggle, maybe this isn't yours, but now we have all these pieces of stories, and now I need to find a way to say them fluidly rather than, because right now what's happening is they're kind of all independent sections, and I'm singing the songs, but I'm struggling to say it fluidly. So if that is you, let's figure out how we're going to get our work around this. Okay, let me get back over here. There we go. So again, all of our colors today are going to be eyeshadow anyways, are going to be coming from the Juvia's Place palette. This is called Afro Galactic. The cover of it looks like this right here. And so that is what we're going to be doing with our eyes today. It is going to be a blue look, and I am super excited about this particular one. It's one of my favorite color combos, so I hope you enjoy it as well. So let us go ahead and jump in together. Let me get my stuff scrolling down. There we go. Okay, so I turned the chat off. I can hear y'all dinging, and I can't even see ya. Okay, there we go. So again, any question that you have, whether it be about the verse or it be about the makeup that we're doing, feel free to ask that in the chat of the platform that you're on. That'll come through, and I should be able to see all of the chats that way. For those of you, if you see me look over this way, that's because I got YouTube over there. And so for those of you Grace and Beauty Insiders, make sure to use those special emojis that you got. What is your favorite one? I think this week my favorite one is the heart. But, you know, use the one that's your favorite. And I love to see your little icon that you get when you're a Grace and Beauty Insider, because it gives you a different one depending on how long that you have been hanging with us. So let's get going. So first thing, we're going to use our primer. This is the Benefit Professional Matte Primer. We're going to give that a little bit of a shake and get that ready for us. Oh, and you can see the verse is scrolling around on the bottom of your screen there. We will use that as a timer for a couple of things as we go throughout our day. So we're going to use, that's a little excessive, but we got that much right there. That is definitely enough. So we're going to work that between our fingers. Any place that you have fine lines and wrinkles, maybe you experience separation on your foundation, you got a little oiliness maybe in that T-zone, you're just going to tap that, spread that out there. For those over 40 lips, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you use that around the corners and edges of your lip there. That is going to help you from bleed out and extend the wearability of your lipstick just all the way around. That is going to help you out. So make sure no matter what prime you're using that you're doing that. And even though this is a mattifying primer, it's not going to dry out your lips. So you'll still be safe to use that as well. Okay. Now we're going to switch to our concealer. This is the Bye Bye Under Eye from IT Cosmetics. I am the shade 11 Light Nude. Get to your nearest Ulta. I'm assuming Sephora has it as well, and they can shade match you. You want this 1 to 2 shades lighter than your foundation shade. So, you know, if you want to just like insurance, take your foundation in with you unless you actually know your foundation shade number or name, and that store carries that. Just bring it with you. That way they can match that for you. So for this particular one, we're just going to use a little ribbon of that. And a little of this is going to go a long way. Now you can see I've got a little bit of redness. I got some discoloration. I got some darkness happening here. We are just going to erase all of that with this. So we're going to take that and we're just kind of glop it in place to start with. We're going to let it set there for just a second. And then that's going to warm up to our body temperature, and then it will spread out nicely. So we're just going to chit chat for just a second. Y'all are being mighty quiet. I can see you on here. Well, I mean, not not you individually, but I can see that y'all are on here. I just can't see anybody saying anything. Yep. Nope. Okay. I'm going to be using the Juvia's Place JP 102 flat round brush. This is a foundation brush, but we're going to use it for the concealer. Does a nice blend out, and then we will use it for the foundation as well. So now that that's kind of warmed up to our body temperature, we're just going to blend that out nicely. And yes, that is true. Mohawk be laying down today. We have got stormy, rainy, yucky, humid weather here. And this morning she said, she being Delilah, my hair, she said, no, Mom, I'm not going to stand up today. We're going to lay down. And I said, okay, pumpkin. All right. And yes, she does talk to me that way. So we're just going to blend that out. We're going to remove all of that redness. And yes, you could use a green concealer if you want to. I don't feel like I have quite enough redness to necessitate that right now, because the Bye Bye Under Eye just does such a beautiful job. So let's just minimize how many things we got to buy and how many things we got to have on a counter, and we'll just use that. So now that everything is all nice and, kind of level playing field color, we're going to do our foundation. And that will let our foundation do a better job of being full coverage. So today I'm going to be using the Lancome Tinty Doll. I am the shade 225N. This has like 52, 58 different shades. So whatever your shade is, get into, again, Ulta. This one, really, this is one of the few that I think it does not matter what your skin type is. This does a beautiful job from one end to the other end. If you have aged skin, it does a beautiful job with that as well. So we're just going to use that. They do have another one. If you have very, very dry skin, they do have another one called, oh my gosh, I forgot the name. The cap is purple and white. It's a little, I don't think you're going to get full coverage out of that personally. It's about a medium. So if that's okay, then I would try that one. Otherwise, you could just use a moisturizing primer, like the hydrating primer from Benefit, and then this one, and you'll be totally fine. So I gave it a little shake while I was talking, and then I'm just going to give it one puff, and that is going to do the bottom part. I'm just going to kind of dab it where I want it. This one dries down in kind of a slow time, so you can kind of glob it where you want it, and then we'll blend it out. I'm going to use the edge of that to get around my nose. Make sure you go over the edge of your lips with that. I'm going to get up under the eye just a little bit and blending it up into the concealer that we put down. So when we finish with this, we should have an all over even, like, blah whitey skin tone. Well, if you have darker pigment, maybe not the whitey part, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to do a partial pump of that. And I'm going to pull my hair back and I'm going to drop it on my desk and get it everywhere. There we go. And I'm just going to use that. We're going to blend that up into that hairline. Get it between those brows there, right down to where you put that first part of the foundation. And then we're just going to kind of tap it on there, remove any streaking lines. Get in if you need to. Just make sure everything's all nice. Blend it out. Anything that you spilt on the top of your desk, wipe that off. All right. You know, I'm watching that verse scroll across the bottom of your screen, and this week that verse is a little bit on the longer side. So, I don't know. It's going to be good. I promise you. I struggled in a little bit in the beginning with last week's verse until the song came out. And then when that came out, I was like, oh, okay, that made that thing a whole lot easier. You know, like when you were a little kid doing vacation Bible school. This is like vacation Bible school for adults. Well, women. Okay, here we go. So, oh, I didn't even tell you what I'm using. This is the Benefit Professional Power Powder. So I tipped it upside down, shook it a couple of times, and now I'm using the Juvia's Place JP 101. This is a powder brush. We're just going to set that in there, and then we're going to lightly tap that off. And that should be just about right. So we're going to start out around the eyes. And I'm just going to go into the corner. And then I'm going to go underneath. I do love the blurring powder of this powder. I have not found it to like get into fine lines and wrinkles very much. I mean, if you use a powder at all, that's probably going to happen. I cannot stand that sticky, gooey feeling from an unset foundation, so that's not an option for you, me. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that same thing, tap, and then go down the center. Every place you put foundation, you are going to tap this powder. Making sure we're getting around our nose there. Same thing, cheek. Same thing. Other cheek. You know, I did buy some new Juvia's products the other day, and I cannot wait to try them. Maybe next week. So they had a new eyeliner, well, a couple new eyeliners that came out. I don't think I've used the setting powder before, and so I got that. I have not tested it yet. So maybe next week we will do that. We'll run a couple of, you hate to run too many experiments at one time, but we'll try that next week. I have not, well, I was going to say I haven't met a Juvia's product I didn't like, but I didn't really care for their eyelash adhesive too much. Anyways, most everything that she creates is just beautiful, wears well, has great color, nice pigment to it. Okay, there we go. So now we're all an even color. Now we're going to add in the highs and lows where we want them. So we're going to start our contouring. We're going to be using two different brushes. The first one that we're going to use is going to be this one here. This is actually a dual-ended foundation brush, but no worries, it works beautiful for this. So this end here, we're going to do the lows, the bronzer. This end here, we're going to do the highs, the highlight. So I am going to grab my KVD refillable or shade light refillable contour palette, and we're going to be hanging out, for me, over here on this end here, and then I'm going to use this one just a tidge. This one, the undertone's not quite right for me, so you'll probably never see me use that one. But this right here, beautiful thing about this is when you, like I've hit pan already in these two, right? So all I have to do is pop out those two pans and put in two new pans. I'd have to buy a whole new $65 palette. So, love that. So, bronzer. One side of that, we're just going to get it on that one side. And then I'm going to go from the ear to about the corner of the eye, staying above the hollow of the cheek. And then up that side of the temple. So it's going to be a little wider here, and then you're going to come in narrow to about the corner of the eye. We'll do that same thing on the other side. Then I'm still staying with that flat side there. I'm going to pull my hair up here, and I'm going to go right along that hairline. I'm just going to work a little bit in a circular motion so I don't have like a harsh end line there. Just going to give a little bit up here. I'm going to take the flat side now, or I guess I should say the small edge, minus the little straggler. There we go. We're going to use that skinny side there. We're going to go from the ear under that jawline to the corner of the mouth. We're going to keep a neutral face so that you're truly indeed getting up under that jawline. And then we're going to do that same thing on the other side. And that is going to give you more of a edge and reduce some of your, if you have them, or if you don't, double chins or any fattiness under here. And we're going to use that same skinny edge there, and we're going to run that from the corner down to the tip of the nose. Well, really not all the way in the corner. It's about right here. And then on the tip. That's going to narrow your nose just a little bit. Now I'm going to switch to the fluffy side for the highlighter. I'm going to go the top of the cheek and right beside that brow bone. And then down the center. And down the center. I'm just going to take this, make sure that stayed nice and clean. There we go. Now I'm going to take this. I'm just going to tap it in that dark one. Right here on that outside corner, I'm just going to give it a little extra right there. Just that little extra something there. Okay, so now we're not going to need that brush anymore, so you can go ahead and set that brush aside, and we're going to switch to a blush brush. I'm going to grab my Juvia's Place Volume 4. And today, we got a lot of blue, a lot of powerful things happening today. So today, we're going to pull it back just a little bit on the cheek using this. This is a MAC, something, I can't even read it, 113 or something. Okay, so we're going to use this one here. So you're going to take this. We're going to get a little bit on there because these are very pigmented. So you really just need a little tiny bit. We're going to go between the bronzer and the highlighter. And then between the bronzer and the highlighter. I'm going to get a little more on the tip of that brush. And I'm going to go right up here into that hairline and just give a little. Now, whatever I have left on my brush, I'm just going to do the tip of my nose right under there and then right there on the chin. We're not trying to get like a deposit of color. We just need a little hint. Just a little hint. So you don't need any extra on there for that little part. Okay, now we can set that aside. We have now completed that. Let's play with our lips a little bit. And I love this particular lip combo. So I'm going to be using, this is the NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner. And this is the shade Jet Set, which you can see is a nice like navy, dark blue kind of color. So we're going to take that. Make sure you got a nice good tip on there because this is dark and where you put it matters. So we're going to start out in the Cupid's bow. Just give a nice V to start with. Then we're going to round that out to the outside corner. Stay in just on the outside of your natural lip line to catch a little extra real estate. All right. Same thing on the bottom. Start in the center. Just outside that lip line. Now go ahead and round that out to the outside corner. Now, because this is so dark, I like a little good morning. That's it. Rachel saying, hey. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're catching no line. We don't want a harsh line from this. We want to make sure that lipstick can do its job effectively because this is going to be, wait, is that Rachel? Anyways, good morning. So let's take the pencil. We're going to go just to the inside of that line. You're going to use a little bit lighter of a pressure because we're trying to get a little bit of an ombre. Not that we're ombreing. We're just trying to help that lipstick to do its job a little bit better all day long. And while I dearly love KVD, everything needs a little boost from time to time. So let's go ahead and do that. And you don't need to be too freaky about it. You're not going to see it anyways. Now, go ahead and take a step back. Make sure you like the shape of what you've just done. Both sides are even. Everything is good to go. Like mine is crooked on the bottom. And don't worry, you still have one more chance to get it straight if you don't like it once you get your lipstick on. Okay, so we are using, this is the KVD Everlasting Liquid Lipstick, and this is Scorpius, I believe. Scorpirus? However you say it. Beautiful dark blue color. There's also a nice one. Maybelline used to make a really nice one. And I think NYX had one, but they haven't had a nice blue one in a while. So we're going to take this. It's a nice liquid lipstick, has a good tip on there. I always like to give it a little bit of a shake just because I don't use this one very often and it's been sitting. So let's just make sure that we give it a little mix. It can do its job its best. So give it a little shake. Now we're going to take that. We're going to work that glop just off the tip. And let's start out in that Cupid's bow there. Okay, so we got a good shape there. Now let's go ahead and round that out to the outside. Right now, we're just working on the outside. Don't worry about the inside yet. If you find that your doe foot dries out a little, put it back in. Just get you a little on the tip there. And now we're going to do the bottom. So same thing on the bottom. Start there in the bottom center. Nice smooth line on the outside. And yes, that's a great question. So you can see the doe foot has like an angle on the end of there. I'm using that flat part right there to do the outline. Okay, I'm going to put it in one more time. And what shows up on there is going to be enough to do the middle. This does dry out. If you give it just a couple of seconds, this one dries out nicely. The Maybelline one I spoke of just a minute ago, like really dries out. Your lips, I feel like, are too dry. You might even need a little gloss on there. So this one does nice, though. Here we go. Okay, now keep your lips separated for just a little bit and let that dry down happen naturally. So that, if you put them together and leave them together too soon, it's going to dry together. When you separate them, you're going to end up with like a line of nothingness. So just keep talking, say in your verse, whatever you need. I got a yes, ma'am. Okay, so let us go ahead and say our verse together, and then we are going to jump into our Afro-Galactic palette. But first, we have to wait till that verse scrolls around. So we're going to give it just a second there. Here we go. Now I see the end of it's coming around. Here we go. You ready? Okay. So, my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of light cascading down from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced. Isn't that a good thing? Nothing fickle. He brought us to life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of all his creatures. James 1:16-18. And this will be the verse that we'll be working on all week, so you'll just kind of let that flow. Okay, so Juvia's Place, Afro-Galactic. Okay, so I know you see these blue lips, so let's see what's going to go with that. You ready? Here we go. I'm so excited. Okay, so we're going to start out here with Spirit. We're going to use that one. Then we're going to go and dip into Iris just a little bit. Then we're going to go up here into Orbit. I know. Oh my gosh, are you ready? There's still another one. And then we're going to go up here into Orbit. We're going to use, what is that one called? Stars, just on the very outside corner to give some intensity. And then we're going to come down here to Alien. So we are going to be Afro-Galactic-ing today. So I hope that you grab your brushes. So let's go ahead and jump in. So this is a Morphe 430 M433, just a nice blending brush. This is going to do that Spirit. We're just going to, you can tell I like that one, right? Okay, so Spirit, we're just going to get that on the tip of that brush, and that's going to go right up here on your brow bone. Going to do that same thing on the other side. This does have a little bit of shimmer in there, Not so concerned about the shimmer. We're just trying to get something kind of, fleshy color. If you have a darker complexion, you might be able to use maybe Bologna or Mother Earth. They're a little more shimmery. Otherwise, you could try the Coffee Shop palette. That's got some beautiful neutrals in it as well. Okay, so now that we've got that, we are going to add just kind of a foundation color. So you're not really going to see this color in the end, but we needed to kind of bolster up the other colors. So we're going to go right here into this one, which is Iris, right there. I am using an all-over shadow. Well, it's just like a general purpose shadow brush. This is a MAC, I don't know, 260, 280, something like that. It just looks like this. So we're going to do this one here. I'm only going to get shadow on one side. This is a very bold color. Your potential for fallout is great. So only load one side so that you can reduce and minimize your risk. Also, you're going to do just a little tap out on it. And then we're going to put that on this whole lower part of your lid. We don't need to be too freaky about the blending because we're going to have so many other colors on it. But we're just trying to use this as kind of a primer so that all the other colors can do their job a little more effectively. And no worries, everything is not going to stay this dark. Just hang with me. Hang with me. What is it? Trust the process. Trust the process. Okay. So we're just going to color in that whole lower part. I am going to use this up here into that, what was that one called? A spirit. And we're just going to kind of blend that out a little bit. So no additional shadow on the brush. You're just going over where those two colors meet to let that get a little crazy. So right now, we just got some crazy happening. It's okay. It's okay. There we go. That's going all the way from the lash root up to that brow bone. So now we're going to do that same thing on the other side. Now, you know, you cannot be walking around with blue lips and not have some kind of eye color to counter that. Okay. I'm going to get that right there in that crease. Just let that be nice and smooth. And then I'm not going to have any more shadow. I'm just going to blend that up into Spirit. Ooh, I almost dipped in Mars. Here we go. Okay. You want to make sure you got your fluffy brush nearby. We'll be dusting a few times just to make sure we do not end up with any fallout on our face. So I'm going to keep with the same brush because we are going to be going into Orbit, which is an absolutely spectacular, shimmering, holographic, on crack blue color. Can I say that? I'm not sure. Anyways, so same brush. We're going to go in here. This one clings a little bit better, so you could actually put it on both sides and you'll be fine. We're going to pay special attention to the outside corners of the eye. So right here on the outside corner, going all the way up to that brow bone, we're just going to give us a little color right there, and don't do what I just did and touch the brow bone. But there you go. So we're going to leave a little strip clear right down the center there. You'll see why in a minute. Then we're going to get it on that outside corner, and we're just going to blend that in. And we just want a little bit, not like that wide. Okay, here we go. There you go. Don't need to worry too much about making it look anything. You don't need to blend it out. Just deposit the color. We'll get to all that in just a minute. Now you can see I got some crazy fallout here. So let's just do that. There you go. Okay. Back into Orbit. Same thing on the other side. Oh my goodness. Look at that shimmer. That is just so crazy. All right. Back into Orbit. Hitting the outside. All the way up to that brow bone there. If you need to go back in so you can fill in here, do that. Oh yeah, I think that's what caused my fallout. Okay. So for those of you who have hooded eyes like I do, what you want to do now is look forward straight ahead and see if you see that blue peeking up above the fold of your eye. You want to make sure that you can see it. I have a tendency to not go high enough first time through. So we're going to raise that up just a little bit. This is going to help minimize the appearance of that fold and that little disappearing lid thing going on. So raising that up just a little bit. Don't need to worry about having a line up there. We'll get that in just a minute. So for right now, we're just raising that color, making sure we can see it above the fold of the eye when we're looking forward. I know we got a gap down the center. Hang on, hang on. Okay. Dusting that away. I'm going to go ahead and grab a fresh, clean brush. This one is actually, it's a little smaller area we're going to be doing now. This one is the M124? Yeah, 124. So a little bit smaller of an eyeshadow brush. We're going to go into that alien right there. I'm just going to get it on one side of alien, and we're just going to put it right down that center. And then just work it back and forth a little bit to blend it out. So do that same thing on the other side. Just go right down the center. And then just work it from side to side. Super easy. Okay, now the inside, well, you know, let's go ahead and do the outside corner. Okay, I told you we were going to be dipping in stars for just a second. So we're going to grab that, what is this, a MAC? I want to say 219. It's just a smudger. We're going to go into stars here. Now with this one, we just need a little teeny hint of color for the outside corner. So don't get crazy on me here. We're just doing a tap, tap. So literally tap, tap. That is enough. You don't need a whole lot. We're going to write on that outside corner. And we're just going to go into about halfway. We're just giving a little intensity on that outside. There you go. Nothing too crazy. Literally tap, tap, and you're good to go. And then we're just going to flick that corner, which is going to give us just a little pow right there on that outside. That is definitely going to have a tendency for some fallout, so make sure that you brush that there. Okay, now back to what we were talking about. So we are going to do some color under the eye. I am going to grab, this is a Morphe, this is a M213. Just a nice, kind of a dense smudger, but it does great under the eye. Love that little shape of that. So how we set the iris down before, we're not really going to need to do that for this part here. So we're going to grab this orbit here. You're just going to get a little bit on one side on the tip. We're going to go to the outside corner, and we're going to go about halfway, and you're just going to put a little bit of that color there. And then we're going to let it kind of seat up here around that corner with where we were just playing with the stars. Okay, do that same thing again on the other side. Just right up to that lash line. We'll use a liner here in just a second, and that will help kind of bring all of that together. And we're going around the corner, blending that into where we put stars. Okay, so same brush, just, you know, wipe it off on that tissue you got in your lap. We're going to go into the alien. Again, you're just going to get it on the very tip on one side. We're going to go from the inside corner to that blue we just laid down. There you go. That's just going to lighten that inside corner a little bit, and then give us some continuity. All right. Now, if you want, you don't need to, but you could take that stars just right there on that tip a little bit and just hit that outside corner just a little tiny. Just a little bit. Okay, before we do anything else, we're going to go ahead and fix right there on that brow bone because we got a little bit of a mess going on. It's okay. It was to be expected. So I'm going to go back and grab that Morphe, that M433. We're going to go back into that spirit just a little bit. Just tap it a little bit. And you're just going to go over the edge where those colors are meeting each other. Just kind of go back and forth right on the middle where those two colors are together. Right here on the inside, and then right here on the top. And that is going to smooth that out and give you just a nice blend. All you're doing is going back and forth. We're just softening that edge. All right. So you can see now we've got a little shimmer going down the center. And actually, I think I'm going to take my finger into that alien. This, you usually get a better shimmer if you do it this way. So I'm just going to add a little extra insurance for that shimmer down that middle right there. So I'm just taking my finger and tabbing that down. Nice. There you go. Okay, so that concludes the eyeshadow part of this. Now let's go ahead and finish this look out. So I'm going to grab my Too Faced Better Than Sex Killer liner, which you can tell I love because... What? Is that a sharpener in the end? What? Shut the front door. Okay, anyways, you can tell I like it because it's small. How nice. I didn't even know it had a liner on board. Okay, from the outside corner, we're going to go about halfway. That's going to give us some intensity on that outside corner. You got a lot of color happening, so you don't need to be too freakish about this. Plus, we're going to be using a false lash, and that will cover some sins as well. So there we go. We're going to do the same thing on the bottom, outside corner to about the middle. This one's going to be a much finer line, so we don't want like a big, heavy black line thing. We're just going to go from that outside corner right in that lash line. Ever so thin a line. We're just trying to give a little clarity for the lash line, but not give us a black thing. There we go. If you want, you can give a little punch on that water line right on that outside part of the corner. Just a little bit of the way. That kind of brings attention to the outside there. We are going to use a little bit of that. There we go, which is nothing but a brush to just fluff out some of that. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of insurance for those lashes that we're getting ready to put on. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex. This is the Easy Glide Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. Love this one because it's so user-friendly, so easy to use. So we're just going to draw a thin line from the outside corner all the way to the inside corner. Whether you are wearing false lashes or not, I would do this just because it's like that frame on that picture. When you're wearing false lashes, though, this gives you a little bit of forgiveness. When you put the lashes in, if they don't make it all the way down to the base of your lashes, it's going to hide that little bit of gap that you might experience, especially if you're new at putting lashes on. So it's just a good idea. It gives you kind of a runway of where those lashes are going as well. So we're just going to go from that outside corner all the way to the inside. There we go. And that is all of that. Super easy. It's going to dry down while we're working on our brows. So for those of you who actually have brow hair or yours is a color other than clear, you're going to grab your brow product of choice right now. If you do not love the shape of your brows, you don't know what you're doing, you don't have any idea what product to use for the look that you want, take you some pictures into Ulta, go to their Benefit Brow Bar, and let those ladies help you out. So this is going to be, for me, because I got funky colored hair, this is the Bad Gal Bang in the shade Wild Plum. I am using a mascara for my lashes. So I'm just going to make sure that tip is clear. And while that liner is drying, we're just going to do our brows. There are all different kinds of colored mascaras on Amazon. You'll see quite a few of them if you go to my website, A Little Bit of Makeup and a Whole Lot of Jesus, because I've used a bunch of them. That way you can see what brands I've used too for, what has worked and what hasn't. Look at the difference that makes. Brow, no brow, brow, no brow. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Same thing on the other side. I don't know what's happening. Okay, here we go. So we're making sure we're hovering above that skin with this. It's just covering on those brow hairs. The other thing great about using a mascara for your brow product is it is going to set them in addition to giving you a little bit of color. All right. So that was easy enough. Okay, by now, our liner should be dry. So we are just about good to go for our lashes. Today, I'm going to be using the Juvia's Place. This is the Egypt Light. These are a very uneven. Love the naturalness of those. Medium volume lash, like the band, very comfortable. If you are putting on a, new set of false lashes, you want to make sure that you trim from the outside. Always do a dry fit of the lash, unless you just wore them so many times you know how to do it. But you are going to put those on, and then, sorry, I never had that happen. That was a little weird. There we go. So you're going to put the lashes on, just set it there and see, how long, or it's never going to be too short. Almost everybody has to trim their lashes. I am going to use my velour lash tool. I'm just going to grab that lash from the outside corner and pull that off that little tray there. I'm going to do that same thing with the other one, and then we'll just set that little tray aside. I do put my lashes on the tray every single time because that helps them to last longer and keeps the band in a nice shape. So, I've seen people, I've gone into people's houses though, and they'd be sticking them on a mirror and sticking them, on the top of their makeup desk, all kind of thing. So, to reduce germs, bacteria, the health of your lashes, the lash itself, the band shape, put it back in the tray that it came from. That's kind of what it was designed to do, and it will help you so much in the end. I am using the Allure. This is the 18-hour lash glue. This one does not have a brush. This one has a little paddle, and really like how this one works. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a shake because that's what it feels like you do with everything. I'm going to pick that lash up with my lash tool. I'm going to hold it right there in the middle. With this lash paddle, I'm going to put that adhesive right on the top of that band. So the very top edge. Paying special attention to those outside corners. And then I'm going to turn it in and put it on the inside corner of that. We're making sure that we get those outside corners well. This is a clear lash glue, so it's going to come out white. But then as it starts to dry out, it will turn clear, and that will be about when it's ready for you to put it on. So let me go ahead and close that. We're going to set that down in front of us. Just let that do its little dry down. I'm going to grab the other lash right there in the center. We'll do that same thing with this one. So right on that top edge. Making sure I get those outside corners. We get a little extra adhesive there. I'm going to go flat to the inside there and get that on that inside of that band. It's not cooperating very well today. It's going to be one of them kind of days, huh? Okay. So there we go. Now your lash adhesive is on there. You are good to go. I always keep one of these in my purse so that if I feel any, so here's some signs. If you feel kind of cold in your lash line, or maybe it feels wet in your lash line, or maybe you got pinching on the inside, you probably got some lift. So just keep a little lash adhesive in your purse, and then you got to worry about all that. So I also have very round eyes. So I'm just going to take these two outside corners and I'm just going to roll that band. You're just doing this, and that's going to help it keep that nice curved shape. I'm going to grab that in the middle. How about, yeah, we'll have to mascara afterwards because I got out of order. Here we go. So we're going to set that down right there on that lash line, right on that eyeliner line. This is what happens when you talk and you put makeup on. Okay, I'm going to take this tool. I'm going to blend my lashes with that lash. We're going to get everything in that same space. You can see the inside corner lifted just a little bit. Just put that right back down. Sometimes you have to convince that inside corner, which is why we make sure we get nice adhesive on that outside corner so that they will be encouraged to stay put. Once that is good to go, you can see the difference that that makes. We're going to go ahead and grab that one on the other side. We're going to do that same thing, give it some curve. There we go. Getting that in the center. It's going to go right here. Catching that inside corner right on that eyeliner line. There we go. Outside corner on that eyeliner line. And then we're just going to crimp them together. Make sure they are occupying the same space. There we go. Now, there we go. What was the thing I forgot to do? I did not mascara my lashes. So if that happens to you, don't freak out about it. Just mascara after the fact. It'll be all right. So I'm going to grab that Bad Gal Bang, and this is in black. So it is going to be, you know, a good color anyways. This one, I'm going to make sure that I don't get too much on the false lash while I'm doing this, because I don't want to have the false lash end up like goopy or anything like that. So if this should happen to you, just be careful and try to get it only on your lashes. So I'm just going to take that Bad Gal Bang mascara, and I'm just going to put it on the inside of my lashes. Now I do see what that just caused was a little bit of lift on this corner here. So we're just going to take that lash tool and put that corner back down. There you go. Using that lash tool, get those lashes worked in there with that. There we go. And now we're just going to do that same thing on the other side. It might be the humidity today because I'm seeing I got a little lift happening on this one now too. We're just going to get that mascara in there. Let's grab our tool. We're just going to set that bad boy back down where it goes. There we go. Take the tip of that, work my lashes in with there. Kind of hold that there. There we go. It'll be all right. Okay. So now let's do the bottom lashes. You don't get false lashes on the bottom, so we're going to make sure that we get those nice and covered. So we're just going from root to tip, and then we're sweeping under those tips. Okay, same thing on the other side. Making sure we're going from one corner all the way to the other corner, all the way from root to tip, and then sweeping up underneath on those tips. Okay, and I think I was just blocking your view, so sorry about that. You are going to notice that there is a lot happening on the upper part of our eye. So if you want to go ahead and add an extra coat to those bottom lashes to kind of balance that out, that would be perfectly acceptable for today. Usually I don't do a second coat on the bottom lashes, but to kind of balance out what we've got, I'm going to today. And for those of you in the Beauty and Grace Insider, this is going to be number 12 in the image that you got. I kind of jumped out of order a little bit today because, I don't know, I just felt kind of blue and got all excited. Okay, so let's just give us a yeah. Okay, they stayed. Woo-hoo. So if you have, at this point, if you have any, oh, did I not get that? Oh, damn it. Okay, so if you have any fallout, you can grab your little bullet brush, which I actually do not have here, and go ahead and do a little reconnaissance on those. So this is actually a highlighter brush. I don't have my bullet over here, but we're going to go ahead and grab that. We're going to get just a tiny bit of powder on there. And we're just going to go under that eye ever so slightly with just a little bit of the power powder. Now with the bullet, you can actually get in there and, work around the little fine parts in there if necessary. If you don't need to do that, don't worry about it. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit of some shimmer highlighter. This is a Juvia's Place. This is a Heroin Glow 2. Love this one. Just kind of a nice rose gold. Give you a little bit of shimmer. I'm taking that same. This is an Anastasia highlighter brush. Right there on the top of that cheek, right beside that brow bone. Doing that same thing over here. Cheek, brow bone. And then I'm going to go right up here, up the center. Making sure I don't mess up the lipstick there. Okay, so that is our highlighter. I am so loving this. I feel like my room is getting like super hot though. Okay, so all right. So we are almost ready to go. We are going to say our verse together one more time, and then we're going to set this bad boy so it is good to go all day long. So our verse is scrolling around, just about ready. Y'all are so quiet today. I know I see a couple of my friends from the UK out here, although y'all aren't talking. I can see you. Okay, so now it is coming around. So let's just say the verse for this week together. Here we go. So, my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of light from the Father of light. Oh, sorry, I got ahead of the thing. Okay, there is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. There we go. He brought us to life using the true word. Showing us off as the crown of all his creatures. James 1:16-18. And I laugh because we are truly learning all of this together. So now we got this. We wanted to stay put. We wanted to stay looking beautiful all day long. So I'm going to grab my Juvia's Place. This is a Ready, Set, Sealed. Going to give it a little bit of a shake. My hair is falling down, so I'm going to pull that back just a little bit. We're just going to let that set. That is going to fan down and just give us a nice satin finish all day long. Help that makeup to stay in place. Help your eyeshadow to not do creasing. It is just going to help that. So it has been a delight hanging with you today. Thank you for coming, and I look forward to chatting you throughout the week on social media or on the website, a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com. We are going to go ahead and review our verses together. So whether you are new with us or not, if you just started your journey through James, all of these are going to be on YouTube. They're also on Apple Podcasts or wherever you watch video podcasts. So no matter where you are in your journey, go ahead and, go back, follow through, or just start from here and go forward. You and your personality, and just do what fits you the best. Okay, so here we go for our journey through. Okay, so we started out in James 1:1. Hello, let's see. Hold on, I'm getting... Wait a minute, I'm getting all... James! There we go. Am a servant of God, am a slave of God and the Master Jesus, writing to the 12 tribes scattered to kingdom come. Hello! And I can hear that song literally in my head as we do this. And then we went on to verse 2. Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life shows its true colors. Shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so that you may become mature, well-developed, and not deficient in any way. If you don't know what you're doing, ask the Father. He loves to help, and you'll get his help, and you will not be condescended to when asking for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought. People who worry their prayers are like wind-whipped waves. Don't think you're going to get anything from the Master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all your options open. And then we had, when down and outers get a break, cheer. And when the arrogant rich are brought down to size, cheer. Prosperity is as short-lived as a wildflower, so don't ever count on it. You know that as soon as the sun rises and gives down its scorching... Wait, how does that go? So you don't know, sunrise is pouring down its scorching heat. There we go. The flower withers and the petals wilt, and before you know it, That beautiful face is a barren stem. Well, that's a picture of the prosperous life. At the very moment that our people are looking on in admiration, everything fades away to nothing. Hence the song, fades away to nothing. Okay. And anyone who meets a testing challenge head on and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, the reward is life and more life. I liked that song too. You know what? There's not a song I haven't liked. Okay, so don't let anyone under pressure give in to evil and say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering. But the seducing, flare up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby, sin. And sin grows into adulthood and becomes a real killer. And then we are to today's verse. So, my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of life, cascading down from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. He brought us to life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of all his creation, James 1:16-18. So we have all week to work on that one. So the song for that should technically come out on Saturday. So be looking for, I just realized that's a circle and my head is a circle. How fun is that? Okay, so okay, let's get on with what we got here. So Color Me James, again, is the book that we're going through. Comes in 3 different platforms. You can get that at a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com. Just go to the shop and then go to books and you'll find it. Ebook, spider bound, again, which is my favorite. Or then there is the perfect bound, which comes from Amazon. So whichever way you want to go there. Alrighty, and so I have mentioned it before, but the Beauty and Grace Insider, 3 different membership levels, that is going to help you make the most out of that Color Me James study, the most out of this podcast. Be invested as you want to be invested. And again, the Cherished Queen comes with a free copy of the ebook so that you can use that on your, well, it'd be a little hard on your iPhone, but you could. But on a tablet, that would be better. And then you could actually color in the coloring pages using an app like Procreate. And then you can write in using, I think it's called Goodreads. Anyways, on my website, a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com, on the ebook, it tells you the apps to use and it has links to those apps. So that will help you out there. So to be able to become a Beauty and Grace Insider, you're going to head over to youtube.com at a little bit of makeup, a lot of Jesus, and then /join. So you can just go to the YouTube channel and then put a /join at the end, and that'll get you there. A little easier to say that. All right, so let me pray a blessing over you this week. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Heavenly Father, I am so thankful for every one of these ladies that has hung out with me here live, who is watching this later on. Father, I pray that you would pour out on us a measure of blessing as we strive to have your word in our heart, Father, like you have taught us in Psalms. And I just pray that these words would not just be things that we memorize like a script from a play, but that they would be things that would come to mind and that we would reference them and use them in our daily life for edification, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. And I just pray that we would also use these and share these with others as well. So thank you for those daily adventures that you have given us. And I thank you that helps us to live with the verse and to really have that verse be a part of our life. Father, I just pray a blessing on each one of these ladies this week, and that you would be with us no matter what our situation, no matter where we live, Father, that you would just bless us where we are. And thank you so much for this community. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. It has been a delight to hang out with you. I look forward to seeing you throughout this week on social media or on the website, a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com. Make sure to share your pictures with me. I cannot wait to see what palette you used and how your look came out today. So let me get us going here. There we go. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Love you. Mwah. Bye.